Fox Sports.
We are Blackmore. We are Ohio.
It is the home finale in this 2012 championship season. We welcome you to Great American Ballpark. The Milwaukee Brewers and the Cincinnati Reds playing in the rubber game of this three-game series. And hi again, everybody. Alongside Chris Welsh, I'm Tom Brenneman. Welcome, as always, to Reds Baseball right here on your home of the Reds, Fox Sports Ohio. On Saturday, Matt Latos got the ball, knowing Chris Welsh had a chance to clinch the National League Central for the Reds, and my, oh my, did he deliver the goods.
Well, he was able to channel all the energy that was in the ballpark on that clinch day, Tom, and he was able to really dominate the Los Angeles Dodgers. In fact, I think he wanted to go 9 innings overall. As it turned out, 8 shutout innings, 7 strikeouts. He was as dominant in that ball game as he has been all year long, including 2 times against the Brewers when he really whitewashed them previously this summer.
So Latos today making his second to last start of the regular season, and today an eye-on win, number 14. So the Reds are saying goodbye to Great American Ballpark for this regular season after today. And we'll have the first pitch, the Reds and the Brewers, coming up next on Fox Sports Ohio. Plumbing, heating, cooling, and drain cleaning. Here's Scott Demick.
Hello, everyone. I'm meteorologist Scott Dimick. If you're heading out to Great American Ballpark for the big game, as the Reds take on the Brewers, there will be a chance for rain at first pitch, and temperatures will likely be closing in on 70 degrees. We'll be up into the low and mid-70s for the 7th inning stretch and for the final out. Just a chance for rain. Nothing widespread or soaking, but bring the rain gear just in case. Enjoy the game and go Reds.
Cincinnati Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio, brought to you by the 2012 Ford F-150 Motor Trend Truck of the Year by the Regional Tourism Network. Let us be your travel guide to Cincinnati. Visit CincinnatiUSA.com. And by Skyline Chili, game time is Skyline time. Stop by your favorite Skyline Chili today. Well, the Reds know they will be back and will play again in this 2012 calendar year. The next time they set foot on Great American Ballpark turf, it will be in the playoffs. More than likely a Game 3 division series, whether it be against the San Francisco Giants, who would be the number 3 seed if the Reds are number 2. And right now they're a game behind the Nationals for the best spot in the National League. Or will they be playing the wild card winner? Take a look at the Milwaukee Brewers lineup. They're 3.5 games behind St. Louis for that final wild card spot. Aoki, a big night last night. Weeks at second. Ryan Braun homered last night. He's in left. Ramos Ramirez at third. Corey Hart at first. And Martin Maldonado behind the plate. Gomez, Segura, Peralta, the latter third. Peralta making his 5th start of the year and starting it for the Reds. Start number 32. And what a rock solid first year as a Red it has been for Matt Latos.
Really hard to believe that Matt Latos is only 24 years old. Today he makes his 104th major league start. He's had a good record, especially given the start that he had here in the month of April. May struggled a little bit, but really since the second half of June, Matt Latos has simply been dominant. He has been, along with Johnny Cueto, a very good 1-2 punch as far as the top of the rotation. And that's what gives a lot of Reds fans playoffs hopes, that you can run these two guys out there, stop a losing streak during the regular season, but carry one through the playoffs by a couple of strong-arm right-handers. Day game numbers, very good. 12 starts during the day. He is a perfect 6-0 with an earned run average under 3. And you know what we've seen with Matt Latos is the fact that he's used it more and more, Tom. I remember you saw him the other day, and maybe it was on TV, and you came in after that when you worked this series and said, you know, Matt Latos came out there in the first inning against the Dodgers, nothing but gas. 94, 95, high four-seam fastballs, and that's the way he set the tone. He's a power pitcher, and he's going to go to that number 1 whenever he can.
I know we'll talk about it again later on, but we'd like to send out a special thanks in this home finale to all the great fans that have come out to Great American Ballpark this season, all the folks that work in and around the ballpark, and a little bit closer to home for us, Chris, this unbelievable crew. We are fortunate and blessed enough to work with every single day. They have done an unbelievable job. The best in all of baseball. And guys and ladies, our hats are tipped to you. Aoki looks at a first pitch fastball, says Mark Wegner, the home plate umpire. We're underway. Brian Knight at first. Tim Timmons, the umpire at second. And crew chief Dale Scott, the umpire, down at third. Hooked into right center field, and Bruce is there. Boy, Aoki has hit the ball right on the screws in this series, even on outs. Reds defensively presented by your Ford dealers. Still no Ryan Ludwig out in left field. Frazier gets a start at third base. And Deoner Navarro, he was behind the plate with Matt Latos in the series clincher on Saturday afternoon. Including today, 7 games remain in the 2012 regular season. And well, Chris, with Ludwig still out, and really Jay Bruce and Drew Stubbs and Brandon Phillips and Todd Frazier, all those guys right now in many slumps, if not extended slumps, and you'd love to see over the next week or so things start to turn around.
Well, you would, and I think there's time for that to happen, Tom. I think the opposite. What would you be thinking right now if all those guys were just scalding hot and this ball club was clicking on all cylinders? You may be worried that, are they peaking too soon? So, you know, however you look at it, I mean, you're a glass half empty guy or a glass half full person. I mean, and I think that there's plenty of time to get it going. The playoffs, completely different atmosphere. And I'm not so sure that you can chart how a team does going into the last 2 weeks of the season based on what they do in the playoffs. Although I do know from hearing managers have been there saying it's not as easy as just flipping on the switch and expecting it to be there.
Weeks a roller at Votto. First 2 retired, and here comes Ryan Braun. Still Chris Fire, 8-3. as an interim manager for the Reds, whether it be from Dusty Baker's suspensions or, of course, most recently and currently recovering from an irregular heartbeat and a mini stroke. I'm looking forward to having Dusty Baker back in the saddle perhaps as early as Monday in St. Louis. Braun last night clubbed home run number 41. He had a double and a 2-run home run. And now 110 runs batted in for Ryan Braun. Of course, the Reds know they're going to the playoffs. They know they're division champions. Again, today is a huge game from the Brewer perspective. I mean, look, they're 3.5 right now. The Cardinals are off today. But there is a significant difference, albeit one game, but with 6 games to play after today. There is a significant difference in the way you feel about your chances being 3 back as opposed to 4 back. The Cardinals' final 6 games, 3 against Washington, 3 against the Reds. And the Brewers clearly needing a lot of help and need to win virtually every one of their remaining 7 games. Dodgers also 3.5 back. Winners yesterday in San Diego. They'll play later tonight at Petco Park. Two on Ryan Braun. And we'll do it once more. Bouncer by the mound. Cozart behind the bag. And Latos starts things in 1-2-3 fashion. Reds coming to bat, bottom of the first inning. Yeah, about 5-10 years from now, maybe on an off day.
You know, you normally see that in coastal areas, not too much on the Ohio River, and there he is, paddleboarding, cruising down the Big Muddy.
Reds lineup reads as follows: Brandon Phillips, Zach Cozart, Joey Votto, Todd Frazier, Jay Bruce, Deoner Navarro, Xavier Paul, Drew Stubbs, and Latos. Willie Peralta on the mound.
Well, he's a pretty talented young pitcher. Willie Peralta's only 23 years old. This is really his first season in the major leagues. But he has got some exceptional stuff. You'll see a fastball today that averages over 95 miles an hour. He also has a very good slider and changeup. He's pitched a dominating game. He's also been beat up. His last time out, he did not pitch well at all against the Washington Nationals. But he's got a big arm and the ability to shut down anybody.
First pitch swinging, Brandon Phillips, a fly ball right at Carlos Gomez. 1 pitch and 1 out. Milwaukee defensively presented by your Ford dealers. Aoki and Braun flanking Gomez. Up the middle, Segura and Weeks. On the corners, Ramirez and Hart. And Maldonado hangs a sign for Peralta. Now Zach Kozar, 246 batter, had a good night here last night. One of the few Reds that did. He and Votto. Kozar 2 out of 3 on base 3 times. Joey Votto 2 out of 2 on base 4 times. It has been a very good rookie year for Kozar. Second among all rookies in extra base hits. Third most runs scored in doubles. Fourth in home runs. Fifth in hits. Many, many, many very bright days ahead. One would figure for Zach Kozar. 2 and 2. He went around, according to the home plate umpire Mark Wegner, and that's 2 up and 2 down for a strikeout for Peralta. You know, we're talking about the Brewers and needing to win today to get within 3 of the wild card in their chase on St. Louis, and you know, basically having to win out. Their final 6 games are against teams, sub 500 teams. And all of them are at home, where the Brewers have played very well. 3 against Houston, 3 against San Diego. Brewers are 18 games over 500 at home. $17 over, I beg your pardon, but on the road they're 12 under. One and 2 on Joey Votto.
That seems to be a way that some opposing teams with a right-handed pitcher have been trying to pitch Joey Votto. Because with 2 strikes, Votto begins to look away, and he fouls a lot of fastballs off in order to get a breaking ball drive the other way. One way to combat that, right-handers have been trying to drop that slider down and in on him when they get 2 strikes on him. It's like they're going to come back there. So it's always a matter of adjustment. The hitter adjusting to the pitching trying to stay one step ahead of the hitter. Some hitters that's easier to do than others.
3-2 came with 96 mile/hour gas, and it's fouled out of play by Votto. Did he go? They appeal, and yes, says Dale Scott. He didn't want any friends behind the plate last night. So 1-2-3 with a pair of strikeouts by Peralta. End of 1, no score. Live brought to you by Elk & Elk, serious lawyers for serious injuries. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO. Matt Latos, we talked about his slow start in April. Pitched better in May, and really the 4.19 ERA in June was one very bad start against the Cleveland Indians. But you said it, Chris, after that outing, lights out.
Well, his first 14 starts, his earned run average was 5.2, and he had given up 16 home runs. In his last 17, he's 8-2, earned run average down around 2.5, and he's only given up half as many home runs as he did in the first half. So he's tightened it up big time, and he's made some adjustments, and I think that you have to credit Mac Jenkins and Brian Price, the pitching coach and assistant pitching coach, in helping Latos determine what is his best repertoire. I mean, he came in with the Reds as a guy that threw all 4 pitches. Actually 5 pitches if you include 2-seam, 4-seam fastball, curveball, slider, and changeup. And he's not thrown very many changeups here in the second half, especially in the last few months. And he's really traded that changeup in for a curveball. So we've seen him many days out here where Matt Latos will feature both a really good slider and a good curveball on the same day. That's not an easy thing for any starting pitcher to do, because normally in the bullpen you choose one or the other as your dominant pitch that day.
Fly ball to Jay Bruce off the bat of Aramis Ramirez, and that's out number 1 here in the second inning of a scoreless game. A win today for the Reds would give them an even 50 wins at home in 81 home dates. Second best home record in all of Major League Baseball. Two 0 to Corey Hart. 275 batter, 28 home runs, 79 runs batted in. It's always interesting, the perspective of once you've wrapped up a playoff spot, you can't wait for the regular season to get over and begin the postseason. Whereas for the Brewers, that calendar seems mighty tight. They would love to see the season maybe out another week or 10 days. Line to Cozart. First 5 retired today by Latos.
Well, you know, you can say that, and of course all the emphasis is on the last few games of the year. Here we are down to 6 after this. But, you know, those that have watched the team all year long or been with the team, like Ron Renicky and Jerry Nara, the bench coach, I think I'm back to those days in April, May, and June when the bullpen was just blowing up on a daily basis. The games that they had seemingly in the bag, they'd blow 3-4 run leads, and those are the games that you wish you had back here when you get down to the last skinny number that you have left.
Martin Maldonado, strike 1.
We could have just converted 1 game per month leading up to now. You wouldn't have to run the table to be there. Johnny Nairn, the batting coach.
And many of you are aware of this, but for those that don't, yes, he is the brother of Jerry Nairn.
This young man's had a nice year. He stepped in for Jonathan Lucroy when Lucroy was out on the disabled list with a broken hand. And he's in there today because he's been catching Willie Peralta, the starting pitcher, really since A-ball. But he's had a nice offensive year for a young guy making his way through the major leagues for the first time. Shown some good power, a lot of enthusiasm behind home plate.
One and two, Latos against Maldonado. 2 outs, nobody on. And a Jam shot one hopper handled by Votto. The flip to Latos, and that's that. Reds bat last of the second in a scoreless game. Time during our game, Regina Underhill of Cincinnati will win the new Tundra. Regina, good luck. Keep seeing that fella cruise along the Ohio on that paddleboard out there. I'm telling you, Chris Welsh, I can see you up there.
Yeah, that might be a nice activity, nice and serene, until you, of course, hop on your Sea-Doo and start doing figure eights around me, trying to make the wake to knock me over. I can see you doing that.
I can't do.
Yeah.
I can't. Right around, nice big wake. You looking like you're on a trampoline.
No, I'd be hanging onto the board. Looking for a life vest.
Todd Frazier to lead things off against Peralta in a scoreless game. Last of the second inning. Frazier at 279, 18 home runs, 64 runs batted in.
You know,
stuck on those
else,
numbers a while.
Tom, if nothing else, working with you this year, here our last home game, I've learned the true definition of sophomore.
Amen. All day, every day. One of my favorite words and behavior patterns on swinging is Frazier.
Well, Willie Peralta's making it look awfully easy, isn't he? He struck out 3 in a row, all of them on fastballs, put away fastballs anyway. How about that easy gas at 97?
And we mentioned earlier, this is the first time the Reds have seen Willie Peralta. He's pitched in one game out of the bullpen. That was his first game against Colorado. That was back in April. Then he went down to the minor leagues, where he spent the entire year until the rosters expanded in September.
Now really, if you look through his game by games, even in the minor leagues, when he throws the ball over the plate, he's very good. The only time he runs into problems when he can't find the strike zone.
High fly ball into straightaway center. That ball continues to carry, and Gomez up against the wall. Hauls it in.
Oh, nice play by Gomez there. The wind blowing out a little bit here, maybe affecting that baseball, helping it carry just a hair. But Jay Bruce gets a lot of backspin on these baseballs, and they carry and carry, and Gomez makes a nice play. Real nice play.
So now Deanna Navarro with 2 down and nobody on. In 20 games, a .281 batter with 10 runs batted in. He knocked in what proved to be the game-winning hit in the series opener. Had a 2-run single and a 2-run second inning, and the Reds never relinquished the lead. The Brewers wound up scoring 2 runs in the game. Reds won it 4-2. But Navarro put him in front to stay. All these clouds, we understand, we've had the last 3 or 4 days, going to be pushed right out of here, and expecting just a beautiful run of weather beginning tomorrow. Of course, the Reds will be out of town, but that weather will make its way to Pittsburgh. And we're expecting great weather for the final 3 games of the year in St. Louis next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And the way it's shaping up right now, there are, no teams out of the Northeast in the National League that'll be a part of the postseason. Now, obviously, Washington along the eastern seaboard, and weather can get a little tricky there, but certainly you don't expect it to start getting really cool. This time of year in San Francisco is actually the best time of the year weather-wise they have during the entire calendar year. Their Indian summer really is their real summer. There's a check swing and a miss, and that's 4 strikeouts through 6 batters for Willie Peralta. No score as we go to the 3rd.
Game of the regular season here on Fox Sports Ohio. Jim Day with you up here in the press box with Hall of Fame writer Hal McCoy. Dusty Baker has not spoken to any media members on the record until today. He asked for Hal McCoy for a quick visit. You had to be honored by that. And what did he tell you? How's he feeling?
Oh, he looks great. Stood up and shook my hand and cracked 3 of my knuckles. So he's strong and healthy, and great smile on his face. And to me, he looked like he could go out there and manage right now, and I'm sure he would like to, but we want him healthy and right before he does it. But he said he felt as good as he's felt in a long, long time.
And you'll be writing about that on FoxSportsOhio.com, and of course people can chat with you and complete coverage throughout the playoffs.
Absolutely. I'll be doing it from the man cave on the road games, and I'll be right here in the press box during the playoffs, and we'll all be very, very happy to have Dusty back.
Absolutely. And guys, as we go back to the Champion Windows broadcast booth, Dusty Baker says he actually feels better than he did prior to this incident, and he's very thankful, as Hal told me, that he was at the hospital when all of this happens, and he sends out his thanks to all the fans for the support, and we hope we see Dusty on Monday in St. Louis in that dugout. Guys?
Here to that.
Well, you're not kidding about that.
No score, top of the third inning, and Gomez lifts a fly ball into deep right center field. Bruce hit the wall, and that baby flies out of here. Boy, he hit that ball a ton. So Milwaukee to a 1-0 lead on the 17th home run of the year by Carlos Gomez.
Now, he's got some power, Gomez does, but boy, he does not get cheated in the batter's box. He's not the kind of guy that really cuts his swing down, and he just lets it rip. And that ball, when you see it come off the bat, the trajectory, you think, man, maybe it's got a chance, maybe not. Goes about 3 or 4 rows deep. This is definitely a home run hitting ball club.
What a pick by Brandon Phillips to the glove side. He throws out Segura.
Oh, what a play. I mean, we see this on a daily basis. But that ball was sinking, sliding away from him. Hard one hopper, and he just kind of picks it and makes it look so easy.
Oh, 2 on Peralta. 1 of 9 as a batter. His one hit a double. Broken bat roller past the mound. Cozart is there for the second out of the inning. Follow every pitch in this postseason with MLB.com at bat 12. Text at bat to 31826 or visit Reds.com for details. Standard message rates apply. So back to the top of the order we go, and Aoki. Home run by Gomez to start this Milwaukee third inning, and it's 1-0 Brewers. Breaking ball in there, strike. Detroit with a win, coupled with a White Sox loss last night, has given Detroit a 1-game lead over Chicago in the American League's Central Division. Detroit wrapping up its series against Kansas City at Comerica Park. They're just underway. And later tonight, boy, a tall order for the White Sox, having to play a 4-game series against the red-hot Tampa Bay Rays. That pitch in the dirt. Over in that American League wild card, you got another big win by Oakland last night. Baltimore, a big win. Oakland will play in Texas this afternoon to wrap up that series. There you see the American League Central. And in the wild card, you have the Angels 2 back, Tampa Bay 3 back.
Yeah, Tampa Bay has won 7 games in a row. They snuck into the wild card last year, trying to do it again with a real strong late season push.
For the time to loss column, you see there Baltimore and Oakland. Baltimore with 1 more win. There's a high bouncer. Phillips going to have to cut it loose, and he bare hands to throw out Aoki. Couple of beautiful defensive plays by Phillips. To Milwaukee on the home run by Gomez. Jumps in front 1-0. Wild card, and this is an enormously big game. They all are the rest of the way now for the Brewers. But realistically, you can say to yourself, okay, now you get to within 3 with 6 to go, and the optimist will say, well, the Cardinals are playing the Nationals and they're playing the Reds. We could see them going 3-3, and we can see us against the Astros and the Padres going 6-0. When all of a sudden you just tweak that one game, you lose today, and now all of a sudden you're saying the Cardinals got to go 2-4 while we're going 6-0. Doesn't sound so good, does it?
No, it doesn't. And what it does is sets the panic factor up a lot.
Reds up there, first pitch swinging against young Mr. Peralta with a track record of control problems. Even in his short time in the major leagues, he had walked 10 batters in his first 23 innings.
Well, I think, though, when you face a guy like Peralta, you're stuck between that and a hard place, because he's got such good stuff, such an overpowering fastball and good breaking stuff, that when he does throw strikes, he's one of the last guys you want to be behind in the count to with 2 strikes on. So you go up there early in the count thinking that you're going to get a first pitch fastball, and you take your chances.
Cruz Stubbs serves one down the right field line. And he's the first base runner of the afternoon for the Reds. A 1-out hit for Stubbs here in the 3rd inning.
That's a pretty good pitch by Peralta, down and away, and Stubbs just kind of trying to put the bat on the ball. Finds a hole to the right side. Now you have a speedy runner on there.
It's a nice swing by Stubbs right there. Head right on the ball. By the way, our producer Josh Hall made a very good point. I know some of you are rolling your eyes at that comment, but the reason the wild card game is scheduled for a Friday, with the regular season coming to an end on a Wednesday, a lot of people thought it was going to be the day after the season was over. It's actually 2 days after the season is over for multiple reasons. Primarily, I mean, assume for a second the Brewers wound up tying the Cardinals for the wild card. Well, you have to have a play-in game to then get to the wild card game. And they also left a day in between just in case weather had become a factor before the last game of the regular season. Latos puts down a sacrifice, and Stubbs in scoring position with 2 men out. 10 sacrifices this year for Latos. Brandon Phillips swung at the first pitch he saw from Peralta in the 1st inning and hit a lazy fly ball to Gomez in center. Tying one out there at second base. 2 outs. Strike 1. Off the outside corner, a fastball at 95. It's 1-1 to Brandon Phillips.
The 95, really nothing special for Peralta. That's his normal stuff. Signed by the Brewers when he was 16 years old out of Samana, Dominican Republic.
You been there?
Never have been there. That's in the northeast part of the country.
Wow. Did you go on Google Map for that, or what did you do there?
Yeah,
I mean, you know, there are a lot of people that don't even know where the northeast corner of Ohio is.
Actually, I did before the game. Just trying to get a feel for where these guys are from. I mean, not
pretty impressive.
You know, we have a tendency to say, well, he's from the Dominican Republic and just group it all together like that. But, you know, there are different communities there in different parts of the country.
Man.
Or Team Maldonado from Puerto Rico. So a Dominican pitcher.
What part of the Dominican is that in? That's a joke.
That's sophomoric definition.
It really is. Yeah. 1-2 to count on Brandon Phillips. Lance back at Stubbs, and it's fouled out of play. You know, both those countries, for being small countries, I mean, obviously there are many, many states inside the United States larger than Puerto Rico or the Dominican, and the number of major league players that come out of those two areas is extraordinary.
It really is. But I think what's really interesting is if you break down the players and the position types that come from different places, you see so many catchers come from Puerto Rico. The Molina brothers, Maldonado today, Benito Santiago, Pudge Rodriguez.
Roll to Weeks, and that'll do it in the Reds' third inning. I'm going to ask Chris Welsh where the Scioto River is when we come back.
Right next to the golf course.
Your company's breakout sessions when you choose to hold your meeting right here at the ballpark. The Sharp Business Systems Conference Center. I was busy today. Great place to conduct business in Cincinnati. Contact the Red Special Events Department today at 513-765-7118. Ricky Weeks takes ball one as we begin the fourth inning with Milwaukee in front on a Carlos Gomez third inning home run, 1-0. This one popped up, playable. Brandon Phillips calling off Joey Votto. Ryan Braun tapped out to the shortstop Cozart, ending the first inning. Only Brewer to reach base against Latos was that home run by Gomez, leading off the third.
Ryan Braun, you know, the Reds have kept him under control pretty much all year long, but nobody like Matt Latos has. Those are career numbers. 0 for 12 with 5 punch-outs. The reigning MVP, and he may be on his way to grabbing another MVP this year.
Two and one to Ryan Braun. And that one hung up there. And on a big, huge swing and fouls it back out of play to even a count. Sunshine trying to peek through what has been an overcast Thursday. Lights are turned on here at Great American Ballpark. There's a high fly ball, short right center. Stubbs will get to it. 2 out. Ramos Ramirez flied out to Jay Bruce, his only time up. And with 2 outs and nobody on, time is called. Just as Latos was going into his windup. Now Ramirez in the box and we're set to go. Pulled down the left field line. Foul. The Reds last night with their loss coupled with the Nationals' 1-run decision late before tacking on in the 9th inning against Philadelphia leaves the Reds a game behind Washington for the best record in the league. Nationals will play in Philadelphia to wrap up that series tonight. 1, 2, 3, 4th for Latos. Reds have Cozart, Votto, and Frazier coming up down 1-0. Brought to you by JTM Food Group, creating great dishes together with the food service industry for over 30 years. By your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. For over 30 Toyota offers available now, visit buyatoyota.com, including mobile. And by AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network, AT&T Rethink Possible. Look right along Joe Nuxall way, the Banks. Two, 3, and 4 in the Reds batting order against Peralta, with Milwaukee leading 1-0. Reds have one hit, only one base runner against this rookie right-hander. Only one base runner for the Brewers against Matt Latos, and that was a solo home run to right center off the bat of Carlos Gomez. High fly ball, easy out there for Aoki. Farmers Insurance Group report card on Joey Votto. His on base percentage return since September the 5th leads the National League. In fact, Joel Luckup, our statistician, has just informed us that should he make it out, every at bat leading up to 502 plate appearances, Votto would still win the National League's on base percentage crown by a minimum of 15 percentage points. It's pretty amazing.
That is amazing. And really what that does, Tom, if you look at that from a perspective of the Reds lineup, and you have a guy on there who's nearly on 50% of the time, it's so important to have somebody behind him to provide a little bit of protection, a little bit of power. Because what keeps another team from just go ahead and putting Votto on if you don't have an enforcer behind him? And not necessarily the number 4 hitter, but the 5 hitter also. Today is Todd Frazier. Reds would like to get Ryan Ludwig back.
Well, he's just caught his 87th walk of the year. That is 4 behind the league leader, Dan Uggla. And, of course, Votto missed over 2 months. I cannot remember a player who missed over 2 months of a season yet still found a way to rank among the top through, 2, 3, 4, 7 in various offensive categories like Votto is going to do. Told you right now he's only 4 behind Uggla for the most walks in the National League. There's a legitimate chance he will catch Dan Uggla over the last 6 games of the year in that category. We talked about already on base percentage that he would rank number 1, second in doubles. That's pretty amazing. Two 2-1 pitch, and it's a fastball that sails away. 3-1 to Frazier. Votto at first after the 1-out walk. The Carlos Gomez home run, the lone tally so far by either team. And a 3-1 offering coming to Todd Frazier. Turned it up another notch, 97 miles per hour on that Peralta fastball. Well, you got to believe, Chris, this young man's just going to get bigger and stronger, fill out. You mentioned how young he is, the Brewers' #1 prospect according to Baseball America.
Well, the only thing that has kept him back so far is command of his secondary pitches. I mean, he finds 95 and 96, 97 very easily. Doesn't look like he's even struggling to get there.
Breaking ball, strike 3 called, and Frazier knew it.
Well, when you can throw 95, you make hitters adjust to the point where they have to cheat just a little bit to catch up to your fastball. But when you drop a slider like that in on them and they're looking for a fastball, there's just no way to make the adjustment.
5 strikeouts in the ball game for Peralta, and with Votto at first and 2 away, here's Bruce. He nearly clubbed his 35th home run of the season his first time up to straightaway center field, and Gomez went leaping up against the wall. Hard to tell whether it would have cleared the yellow line or hit off the very top of the wall, but it was right there in the zip code. Here's a play by Gomez.
Just kept going and going and going, and Gomez finds himself up against that center field wall. That ball would have hit about 6 inches below the yellow line had he not been there to grab it.
0-2 on Jay Bruce. Votto a short lead over at first. Peralta to the plate. That slider misses off the inside corner. 1-2 to Bruce. 2 RBIs away is Jay Bruce from 100 on the year. Backhanded and playing to first is the shortstop Segura, and that's all. The 1-out walk to Votto by the board. We're rolling to the 5th, and the Brewers with a 1-0 lead. The 2012 Reds Hall of Fame induction gala DVD. What a weekend. The induction of Sean Casey, Dan Greason, and John Riley. We'll have interviews, highlights, tributes to the induction class, the unforgettable remarks of both Dan Greason and Sean Casey, and more. Visit RedsMuseum.org to buy the 2012 Reds Hall of Fame induction gala DVD. Great idea for the holidays. One 1-0 ball game, each team with 1 hit. Corey Hart to lead it off, Maldonado to follow, and then the man who had the hit to tally for the only run of the game, it'll be Carlos Gomez. He homered off Latos. If you're just joining us, leading off the third inning to right center field. Hart hit a line drive right into the glove of Zach Cozart, his only time up today. Well, what a dandy there. Flipped it up there, breaking ball at 83, knee high outside corner for strike 2. First strikeout of the game for Matt Latos.
He gets a lot of swings and misses on that slider. In fact, coming into this season, that was the one thing that really stood out about Matt Latos. If you look between the numbers on him, he had one of the highest swings and miss rates on that slider as any pitch in baseball. You can see why. I mean, when he gets on top of it and he's straight over the top pitcher, all of 6 feet 6 inches tall, that creates great downward plane.
Breaking ball high to Maldonado. It bounced out to Joey Votto, his only at bat. Sharp 2-hopper down to Frazier, 2 out. So now Gomez, that was his 17th home run of the year. When he led off the third inning, dropping one of the seats in right center field off Latos. Check swing. Did he go? No. Ball 1 to Gomez. Boy, he hit this ball hard.
He did. It swung hard. Ball pretty much down the middle of the plate, but rather than try to pull it, he just dropped the bat head. Ball goes out of here, offage, and we see a lot of balls get parked into those first couple of rows in right field here. Not as many now that the weather's cooled off a little bit. You get high in the 70s or the 80s here. Very comfortable weather. But boy, when that heat index gets up over 90 at this ballpark, day or night, it really flies.
It's been astonishing seeing the difference here over about the last, well, during this homestand. With the cooler temperatures, it really is amazing. We've seen 5, 7, 8 balls in this series alone that would have been long gone. So you wonder, you know, does that come down possibly a little bit more when you're talking about the Reds not hosting a playoff game, Chris Welsh, for what, at least another 10, 11 days? We're expected to get back up into the 80s. There's a base hit by Gomez into left.
Well, you would think, Tom, that would help the pitchers more than ever. I mean, just like it does out in San Francisco. I mean, the Giants have to build their offense about teams that, you know, don't necessarily hit home runs. I don't think that team has even hit 100 home runs yet this year. But it's a pitching dominated ball club. They run a great pitching staff out there on you, and you have to hit the group together several hits in a row or combine that with some base runners, walks, or so on, just to get your runs out there.
Runner goes, throw by Navarro right on the money, and the ball squirted loose. Runner arriving the same time the ball did into Cozart's glove, and that contact may have jarred it loose.
This is the exact same type of play that Zach Cozart had his elbow blown up on a year ago. Not coming from the catcher, but it actually came from the first baseman on a ground ball attempt. But it was still a tag play at second base, and where the runner and the ball got there at the same time. And you don't blame Cozart at all for, you know, wanting to alligator arm that just a little bit, because the last thing you want to see is him stick his glove down there in the path of a sliding runner and then re-injure his arm or his wrist, especially at this juncture in the season.
You know, you were talking about the Giants and their pitching. We know they've been built around pitching for a long, long time, especially moving into that ballpark. But I got to be honest with you, Chris. You know, I think sometimes I'm guilty of it. Maybe you're not, but of losing sight about how unbelievably impressive this Reds pitching staff is when you compare it with the top 5 pitching teams in the league. The Reds rank number 3 in the National League in team ERA, fractionally 0.02 of a point behind the Dodgers for the second best team ERA in the league. The Washington Nationals play in a cavern. The Dodgers play in a cavern, at least during the nighttime, and they play in 3 other ballparks. Total of 3. I think you would include 3.5 with Arizona. I think you and I, when we were there earlier this year, we were both surprised at how big that park played when we were there. That one in the air, fouled behind the plate, a strike 3. We'll get back to this in a minute. But the bottom line is, with all the ballyhoo about the Giants pitching, the Reds pitching is better in the most hitter-friendly park in baseball.
Trivia question of the day. Your favorite question every day you come to the ballpark, and it's, how we looking? How we looking? How we looking? Now, there are several different answers to that, but there's only one correct answer.
That's right.
You may know it. I know it. Some of you out there, when we give you the answer next inning, you will also know it. How we looking?
How we looking?
How we looking?
You have created that as your screensaver on your computer.
Yes, I have.
It really serves multiple purposes if you say it enough. With the ultimate one, getting there sooner or later. And that's just a slide right under the skin of the person you continuously ask it to.
I'm not the first one that you bugged with that question.
No.
I mean, you say it incessantly.
Yeah.
Over and over and over. I'm trying to do my little sport book before the game.
That's the only time it's really any good.
Who did you beat up?
Well, the other guy that I used to, I mean, it drove him almost to the brink of madness was Bob Brenly. And for all I know, he might be watching our telecast right now, sitting out there getting ready for their game in Denver. And he would be nodding his head in agreement. But you are so much more laid back than he is, because the explosion would occur sooner or later. And it was made it all worthwhile. Again, we continue to get back to that word sophomore. There's a swing and a foul ball. On a play to Deanna Navarro. Reds only have 2 base runners in a game against Willie Peralta. A 1-out single by Drew Stubbs. That's their only hit. That came in the 3rd. And then Votto with a 1-out walk in the 4th. That's the only walk by Peralta. He's fanned 5. And now the 1-2 pitch. Out off again. Tigers jumping all over Kansas City. That game in the 3rd inning. 4-0 Detroit. Again, the Tigers going into the final 7 games of the season. A 1-game lead over the slumping White Sox, who had dropped 7 of 9. A lot of pressure on that Detroit team. They have spent money as fast as they could print it. And barely hanging on to a divisional lead. Here's a 2-2. Broken bat bouncer down to first. Hart waves off Peralta. 1 out.
You really ask yourself, who is really the pressure on? General manager goes out and spends the owner's money by the boatload to bring in players. Now, he was the one that made the decision on those certain players to make up the mix of your team.
That's right.
So, but now that pressure kind of trickles right on down to the players level. Well, actually, the pressure should be on the GM who made the decision in the first place.
I agree with you. You know, I mean, I think the Tigers are a nice team. I've seen them. You've seen them this year. You know, they're a good team. I didn't understand so many of the preseason prognosticators. It felt like the Tigers would, you know, win 105 games and march right into the World Series. And there were a lot of those picks out there before the year began. I didn't get it. But I know one thing. That lineup can scare the daylights out of you when they're clicking. And it's been their pitching that has really delivered here down the stretch, enabling them to catch Chicago and for the time being pass them. Anibal Sanchez, a big win last night. Guy that originally came up with the Florida Marlins, threw a no-hitter, in fact, with the Marlins. And was injured. Missed nearly an entire year at the big league level, and Detroit went out and got him, and paying big dividends here in 2012. Three and 1 to Xavier Paul with 1 out, nobody on. We're in the bottom half of the 5th inning. Carlos Gomez, 3rd inning home run. The only run for either team so far in this matchup of Matt Latos and Willie Peralta. Hit number 2 of the day for the Reds. It's a nice piece of hitting right there by Xavier Paul, and we invite you to get ready for Reds action. 30 minutes before every game. We have 6 more of them left in the regular season. Reds Live, we call it. Presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing. And, of course, on the upcoming road trip, Chris will have the checklist. Not so much about each and every game, but looking ahead to the playoffs on Fox Sports Ohio.
I want to thank you all season long for being my biggest supporter of the checklist in a pregame show. You're right there with me. You may not be on camera, but you are right there with me during every one of those checklist productions.
I say it all the time. One of my favorite things, and it's not just your checklist, but if I'm watching a football game or if I'm watching a college basketball game, whatever it might be, I love having the guys in the booth, especially only the analysts, really, because they're the guys that played the game. Of giving me as a fan at home something to look for during the game, not just to watch the game, but something in particular, 2 or 3 or 4 things to look for in that game, little nuggets or tidbits, as Lee May likes to call them. So I know you're already getting ready to give us some of those. Looking ahead of the playoffs.
I'm ready to go. I'll be right there for you, and I will not disappoint. I hope.
You never have. One time. Not one time. Every one of those checklists have been A+. Well,
thank you.
You're welcome. Stubbs a single down the right field line, his only time up today. Paul, a very short lead, held on over there by Hart. That ball in the air. Right center field, hit pretty well. Gomez racing back to the track, and he'll get to it. And where in the world is Paul going? He's standing at third base. And that's a double play.
Ball game, not much in the way of offense going on. A couple of hard throwing right-handers after it today and doing very well. But Matt Latos, you know, he's been on a roll, and we said over the last 17 ball games that Matt Latos has really tightened up his season. Dropped the number of home runs he's given up by half compared to the first part of the season, and his earned run average is way down over those last 17 starts. But you could trace Tom Bradman right back to late June, make it, from when the time that he had one very bad outing against the Cleveland Indians on the June the 16th. If you look at Latos and see where he's holding his hands right here as he sets up in his full windup. The very next start against the Milwaukee Brewers, he began holding his hands down low. And ever since that start against the Brewers on the 25th of June, He went back-to-back complete games, and he has been lights out ever since. I'm wondering, and I haven't really talked to Brian Price about this. In fact, this particular point was brought up to me by our good friend Alan Slater, who used to fill in occasionally as our statistician, watching from down in West Virginia. Said, didn't Latos hold his hands higher early on? And he certainly did, but ever since he made that change, coincidental or not, he's been lights out.
Right, I'm not going to ask you to tell me in this exact precise case why Latos would do that, but you are a guy that works with a lot of young pitchers, high school pitchers, college pitchers. Theoretically, what would be a reason that you would hold the ball down low to start rather than up high?
Well, from a mechanical standpoint, it would reduce the number of moving parts you have, and the simpler is always better no matter what. But I think at this level, it could be something to do with maybe tipping your pitches. When you hold your hands high, maybe the way you hold your wrist, or the way your glove is situated, or sometimes maybe you flare your glove on a certain pitch as you get ready to throw a curveball or a slider that you don't do on a fastball. So that may be the difference right there. All I can tell you is that on the last game that he held his hands up in front of his face, he pitched 4 innings against the Indians and gave up 7 runs. And he dropped his hands and then went back-to-back complete games, once against the Brewers, once against the Giants, and he really has not had all that bad of a game, maybe one, ever since.
On Ricky Weeks, 0 for 2 in the game. 1 run, 2 hits for Milwaukee, no runs, 2 hits for Cincinnati. We're in the top of the 6th inning at Great American Ballpark, the final home game of the year. Regular season, of course, home game of the year for the Reds today, and Weeks is swing and a miss, 2-1.
Well, Weeks is the one guy in this lineup, and all the Brewers have seen Latos before, although not a whole lot. But he's actually reached Latos in his career pretty well until today. Came in 385 hitter, had a couple of home runs off of him, 3 knocked in.
Boy, that's a nice pitch, isn't it?
I'll tell you, that's a pitch that we said early on that he's not thrown a whole lot of, but he's come out today and thrown a lot more changeups than he normally has. I think that's what that was anyway.
2-2 now on Weeks. Come right back with a breaking ball down and a way to strike him out. That's 2 of them today for Latos. And now Ryan Braun, who seemingly gathers his thoughts at length in between every pitch, and now he settles in the batter's box. And a breaking ball for ball 1. He'll step out of there. He'll adjust both of his batting gloves. Step about 10 feet away from the plate. He'll find some dirt. He'll look at his bat. He'll ask with the right hand out more times than not this time for the umpire to give him a minute to get in there. Always tap that back on the outside corner. And it's 2-0. Here we go again.
What do you make of all that?
Tired. I understand he's got his own routine of doing things, and obviously he does it very, very well.
Well, there have been some guys that have done that, like Ryan Braun, but even done it longer and taken more time to get back in the box. Sean Casey was a guy that would seemingly take a long time preparing himself for every pitch. Then you have the exact opposite of that, and like Joey Votto, sometimes who never even leaves the batter's box, doesn't even move his feet. Tap the plate, get his hands ready, and he's ready.
So just different ways of getting ready. Here's a 3-1 pitch. And he shoots it into right, so whatever he's doing, it's clearly working for Ryan Braun.
I'm not so sure it's a setup as much as it is the actual swing.
I think you're right.
Although you may want to try with your little league team. Have them all go out there and do the Ryan Braun setup.
Well, I mean, you're a big golf guy. I'm not a big golf guy. I mean, it's a beautiful swing. This guy is just a great hitter. I mean, that's all there is to it. A great hitter, a great player, a great base runner, good defender, but a great player. But, you know, you're a big golf guy. You know what I mean? The same old's true with a lot of golfers. You know, you get out there and, 100 years ago, and every now and again I'd play, you'd get out there and those guys that take 4 and 5 practice swings and stand there and look at the ball and wait around, and there are those guys on average better players than a guy that just take a look, know the distance, get the right club, one practice swing, grip and rip.
Yeah,
right.
I don't know. I know some guys take a long time and they're good players, and other guys don't take much time and they're also good players. But I can tell you what, I guarantee you that guy that takes a long time does not play in the Marty Brennaman foursome. Because right in the middle of one of his swings, he'll say, "Let's go," over and over. In fact, it's not really a golf game, it's a golf race. How quick can we get back to the hotel? So
that's the thing I always ask him all the time.
Now,
what is the hurry? You're in a hurry to get out there, and then when you get there, you're in a hurry to get home.
Now, what do you think that if Ryan Braun said that today to Mark Wegner? Said, "Hey, come on, Ryan, get in the box, will you? Let's go."
Well, there are umpires that will do it to certain players. The issue that a lot of people have around baseball is that umpires will not do it to the quote-unquote established guys, and that is why precisely you have the Red Sox and the Yankees that generally, when they play one another, play on average longer games than any other teams that play against each other in baseball. And obviously those two teams have primarily been loaded up with guys who are veteran players. Ground ball down to third. That'll end the inning. Still 1-0 after 5.5. You, the Reds, for years, and now it's time for us to bring you to the Reds. And today we welcome Reds fans from the Sycamore Senior Center up north around the Sycamore School District. Great school district up there, and one of the best athletic directors at any high school in the country. Jim Stahl, former great head basketball coach at Purcell Marion, won a state championship there back in the late 1980s. So now Matt Latos will lead it off against Peralta. 1-0 ball game on a Carlos Gomez leadoff home run back in the Brewers' 3rd inning. You know, Chris, one thing I want to ask you about, were you surprised or as surprised as I was to learn that the Brewers, the Astros had made another managerial change?
Yeah,
look out there.
Did that change take effect for next year, or does it start right now? Does Bo Porter start right now, or is he going into next year? Okay.
Well, that's partly what I mean. With the way the whole thing was sort of handled. You know what I mean? As Latos had to bail out of the way of that one.
Yeah, I thought the timing of it was somewhat odd. But, of course, if you haven't heard, the Astros have named Bo Porter as their new manager. He will take over the reins in 2013. Tony DeFrancesco will finish the season this year. I don't know. Having watched that club, as many times as the Reds have played them, they surprise me just about every time we watch them.
Latos chase ball 4 right there. That's strike 3.
All right, our answer to our AT&T trivia question, Tom. We ask the age-old question we hear over and over again: how we looking, how we looking, how we looking? And the correct answer is right on schedule.
Right. Now that line comes from Ken Digger Phelps. You remember him, longtime major leaguer, had some really good years with the Yankees.
Sure.
Back when we were doing take a look here at Peralta momentarily, and look at this. Peralta leaves his game. Didn't notice anything after he threw that last pitch to Latos. But whatever it is has warranted Peralta's got to walk off the mound right now. You obviously hope and pray it's nothing serious. As soon as the trainer and Ron Renicky arrived, that was it.
He's talking to the trainer on the way in. Peralta did have Tommy John surgery, but that was back in 2007 when a year after or so that he had signed his first professional contract. That was the strikeout pitch. And if you see at the very end of this, if you keep following this, he pulls his sleeve down over his arm. I don't know whether that's just a little habit of his or whether that is what's bothering him. No, we hope he's all right. Nice young talent like that.
No question.
He's one of the reasons why the Brewers have been so anxious to get really to 2013. They've got 5 players that really excite them, and Peralta's one of them.
So Brandon Kinsler will have as much time as he needs to get ready after the injury to Peralta. We'll be back in a moment. Holder with only a $100 deposit, you can guarantee yourself huge savings. You get exclusive benefits and more. There are multiple packages available, not just every home game. There's lots of options, so lock in the best seats at the lowest price today. Your guaranteed opening day tickets. How about 2013 postseason tickets and so much more? Log on to Reds.com/tickets. It's the third day in a row we have seen Brandon Kintzler come on from the Milwaukee bullpen.
Yeah, he's become a big part of this bullpen here lately. You can see he's only been in 10 ball games, just recalled right around the first part of September. I'm sure that Ron Renick did not expect to see him in this ball game this early, not the way that Willie Peralta was throwing it. You know, I got to figure on Peralta. I'm not sure what was going on, but he evidently had a conversation, a pitch or two before, maybe a batter before, with the third baseman Aramis Ramirez, because Ramirez picked up on it immediately. It was almost like they had a conversation saying, hey, if you're hurt now, don't try to push it. If you're not feeling right, let's get you out of there. Not often you see a guy exit the ball game as a pitcher based on his last pitch being a strikeout, unless he felt something tweak, and let's hope that he's going to be okay.
Indeed. So here's Kintzler.
Yeah, I was talking about the young players that are really getting this Brewers organization excited. The catcher Martin Maldonado being one of them. They've got a big tall pitcher, Jim Henderson, they're excited about. We've seen Peralta. Mark Rogers, a right-handed pitcher that they have shut down because he only threw 44 innings last year. But this young man, they say, routinely throws anywhere from 96 to 98 miles an hour. And the shortstop today, Gene Segura. Those are the young guys that they've had an infusion of here lately to give, you know, Brewer Nation a real hope for 2013 and beyond.
Yeah, you know, you look around the rest of their ball club. I mean, they still have, you know, Weeks is still a relatively young man. He's been around for a while. Hart is clearly a very productive player, Braun among the elite players in the game. Aoki has been an outstanding find. Now, granted, he's a rookie, but a 30-plus-year-old rookie after coming over from Japan. And Aramis Ramirez is, I think, proven to everybody he's not going anywhere anytime soon. They signed him to a 3-year deal, and he's having his best season over about the last 2 or 3. So we'll see about the pitchers.
Now, the infielders are realizing that as a starting pitcher or even a relief pitcher getting ready for the game is no simple task. Because they've been standing around here for about 6 or 7 minutes watching Kintzler warm up. Saying, man, you guys go through this every time? Ramos standing out there like he's waiting for a bus that's not due for another 15 minutes.
Got the shades upside down on top of the hat. Now Brandon Phillips, 1 out, nobody on, and we're back to baseball. Brewers with a 1-0 lead. Brandon 0 for 2. Fly to center and grounded out to second base. Fly ball and to right, 2 out. Boy, brought it up earlier, and Chris made a great point about, you know, would you rather your guys be doing one thing? Would you be worried if they were red hot But it cannot be denied that the Reds have multiple players up and down this lineup that are in lengthy slumps right now, and you're hoping that that can start to turn and go in the other direction. Perhaps beginning as early as tomorrow, but certainly by the beginning of next week. I mean, you've got Bruce, Stubbs, Frazier, Phillips, all having a hard time for the better part of about a 3-week run or longer now. And again, it may not mean anything. But here in September, only the Dodgers and the Astros are scoring fewer runs per game than the Reds. Now, the Reds have had a big lead. Getting Joey back in a lineup and trying to get him back to close to full strength.
Well, they've never really had their whole lineup back yet. I mean, they've had one thing or another, nicks and bruises to either roll in. Now, Ryan Ludwig has been out a lengthy amount of time due to a groin injury. They want to make sure that heals 100%. They missed Zach Cozart for a while with that rib cage injury, the oblique. So they really haven't had a chance to get everybody out there. But yes, you know, you're trending in the wrong way. I mean, if you're getting ready for the playoffs, but there's still some time.
Yeah. 1-2 on Cozart. And there's a base hit.
Cozart follows up a good night last night with a good swing right there. Boy, he has been just so big for the Reds this year. I mean, they weren't really sure. He only played 11 games last year before he hurt his elbow, his glove elbow. Non-throwing arm, and was out for the year with Tommy John surgery.
Joey struck out and drawn a walk. Just a little bit low off that outside corner. A ball and a strike on Votto. Brewers a 1-0 lead with the Reds batting here in the last of the 6th inning, and the Reds with their main man up there with a man aboard. Started to pull the trigger and left that fastball alone. 2-1. Two and two to Votto. 2 outs, runner at first. And Kinsler to the plate. Ball 3. Cozart will get started over at first on this payoff pitch with 2 down in the inning. And here it is. And it's ball 4. Votto has walked for a second straight time, so now a chance for Frazier.
Well, our Mazda pitch by pitch this time. It's Kinsler against Votto. And how many times have we done this pitch by pitch with Joey Votto and it results in a walk? It does right here. And you're going to be somewhat careful about him, but he's trying to throw that ball down and away, down, down, down. Kinsler trying to sink the ball with a changeup right there. And he finally walks him on back-to-back off-speed pitches, trying to get Votto to go the other way with it.
Right now, Frazier with 2 on and 2 out. Reds trying to get on the board for the first time today. Breaking ball and a beauty. Strike 1. Nothing at 2. Cozart a 2-out single. Latos draws a walk, but now Frazier in an 0-2 count. And Kinsler got him on a ground ball back up the middle. The force out will end the inning. We've played 6, still 1-0. Milwaukee in front. The clock for Bearcats Sports Weekly with head coach Butch Jones. Boy, I love Butch Jones. Good guy, good coach. Big game for the Bearcats this weekend, playing in the nation's capital against Virginia Tech. So Bearcats Sports Weekly with Butch Jones tonight at 6, and then right after that, high school football. Our game of the week, Summit against Cincinnati Hills Christian Academy, a pair of 5-0 teams on the road to glory on Fox Sports Ohio. One nothing ball game. Brewers bat against Matt Latos. He's only allowed 3 hits in the game, but one of them was a home run to Carlos Gomez, leading off the 3rd inning. 1 run, 3 hits, 3 left on base for Milwaukee. No run, 3 hits, and 4 left for the Reds. We talked about it earlier. What a huge game every game is for the Brewers. But after today, they will have 6 games left. So too with the St. Louis Cardinals. And if the Brewers win this game, they'll be 3 back. They lose, 4 back. With so few games to go, what a difference between 3 and 4. Reds are going to have to try and rally late against this bullpen after Willie Peralta had to leave the game. We have not been told why yet from the Brewers clubhouse, and if we do, we'll let you know. We're curious to find out. Now, Matt Latos will have 1 more start. That'll come against the St. Louis Cardinals. You know, that could be very interesting, Chris. You know, if somehow, some way the Reds could nail down that #1 seed and the Cardinals clinch one of those spots in a wild card. Should they win the wild card game, you would have Bronson Arroyo and Matt Latos both make their final regular season starts of the year against a team potentially both would be making their very next starts against to begin the playoffs.
Yeah, you can make an argument that that wouldn't be all that great for those two pitchers either, because as you know, of course, I've always thought, and I think you can bear it out with stats, that the more a team sees a certain pitcher, normally the better that they get. Fewer secrets, you see release points, you get used to the guy and so on, but nothing more fresh in your memory than, you know, seeing him the start before. I've always thought as a starting pitcher, it's hard to go back to back against the same team. Sometimes you think you need to go out and reinvent something because they're on to you from the time before. But both those guys have had terrific years and are on quite a roll right now, although Arroyo was touched up a little bit last night.
4 runs in 6 innings, and soft liner knocked down by Frazier, and he'll throw out Maldonado. You know, for Latos, I don't know, maybe, you know, psychologically for him it could go the other way, because there is really only one team in Major League Baseball that has owned Matt Latos. And I mean just knocked the cover off the ball against him. And that's the St. Louis Cardinals.
Yep.
So who knows? Maybe we give him a look to do some things against a Cardinal lineup in the regular season finale that maybe he hasn't done before, and find some success if it all plays out that way. But it is starting to look more and more like there's better than a 50-50 chance that's exactly what could happen. Told you the Nationals have to still play 3 games against St. Louis. They have to play 3 games against Philadelphia. Reds have 3 in Pittsburgh, then those final 3 in St. Louis, 1 back for the best record. We invite you to visit the new Cat Canyon exhibit at the world famous Cincinnati Zoo and Botanical Garden. Make it a weekend getaway. Book your stay at CincinnatiUSA.com. 1-2 to Gomez, who hit the home run to right center field, leading off the 3rd. And that's been it so far. And that'll take care of Gomez, and the Brewers in a 7. What an outing by Latos. Man, 3 hits in 7 innings. Fans, save the date for this year's Fox Sports Ohio Reds Fest presented by PNC Bank. Baseball's premier fan fest Friday, December 7th, Saturday, December 8th. Down at the Duke Energy Convention Center downtown. Proceeds, as always, benefit the Reds Community Fund. It's an unbelievable event. 2 days. The Reds Fest presented by Fox Sports Ohio and PNC Bank. All right, Francisco Rodriguez now takes over on the mound, following Kinsler. After they got 5 1/3 spectacular innings from their starter Willie Peralta, who had to leave the game. And again, we still have not heard anything on why he left. All right, Jay Bruce to start it off. First pitch, swing and a pop up into short center field. And Gomez calls off Braun. That was quick. 1 out. Strike one on Deanna Navarro. Navarro today has struck out and bounced out to first. Well, last night it was Oakland who jumped on Texas in the first inning for 5 runs and are out to a win there. Tables turn the other way today. Texas still batting at the bottom of the first inning in a 5-0 lead over the Athletics. Swing and a miss, and that's all for Navarro. That's 7 strikeouts for Brewer pitching in a game here today.
Yeah, Ron Renicky just trying to piecemeal this bullpen together to try to make that 1-run hold up. Normally what the Reds game plan is, and they seem to have followed it whether they want to or not all year long. They get shut down by a right-handed starter, but they do some business against a reliever, get a lead, and then bring in a bullpen at the end of the game that shuts it down. They need to get a couple of runs on the board to make that happen.
Xavier Paul, 1 of 2. He singled to left field back in the 5th inning. Well, he talked about all the problems this Brewer bullpen has had. I mean, those are ugly numbers in virtually every category. It's gotten better lately. That's why they put together this really record-setting run for the Brewers over the better part of a month. But will it be enough? Need a lot of help. They really cannot afford. You know, saying 6-0 is some might feel a tall order, but that might be what it takes after they leave here today.
Well, one reason why that Brewer bullpen has been beaten up so badly, I mean, they are the second in the league, only behind the Colorado Rockies in the number of innings pitched by relievers. Now, of course, Colorado went with that 4-man rotation, a 75 pitch count deal for a while, so that kind of skews the innings pitched. But the Brewers, they depend on their bullpen a lot. They've got a lot of injuries in their starting rotation, and if you go down the bullpen enough, you're going to wear them out. Pretty good 3-1 pitch right there. Pulled the string with a changeup.
Of course, this guy Rodriguez was the talk of the baseball world back in 2002. When, because of an injury on the Angels pitching staff, Rodriguez, who had pitched in less than a handful of major league games, was put on the postseason roster. And without him, they never win the World Series. Setting up Troy Percival down in that Angels bullpen that beat the Giants in 7 games. Paul thought that was ball 4, and it's called strike 3. We go to the 8th. Still a 1-0 Milwaukee lead. Game, this one in New York. How about this play by Travis Snyder?
Boy, oh boy, you talk about stealing a home run. This is no question about it. I mean, way up over the right field fence in New York. He scales that chain link fence like he's used to it.
I like that reaction by that Mets fan on the other side of that chain link fence. Let's go back to that for a minute. I mean, it's vintage New York. We'll go back to it here in a second. Sean Marshall takes over on the mound, replacing Matt Latos, who just pitched brilliantly here today.
7 innings, 3 hits, 1 run. That's the home run, opposite field home run by Gomez.
1 walk. It was intentional, and Latos fan 2. 3, I beg your pardon. Got that final batter, Gomez, to end the 7th inning. Frazier charges and throws in time to get Segura. All right, now watch the guy behind the fence. As soon as Snyder makes this unbelievable play, when they take that, look at that guy. See the guy in the blue shirt there? Love it. Yorvi Torrealba going to come on to bat for Francisco Rodriguez, who works a perfect inning with a couple of strikeouts.
Sean Marshall's only pitched 2 times now in the last 7 days, and this is not normally an inning that you'd figure that he would be coming in. Facing Weeks, Braun, and Ramirez, and then Hart, all right-handed hitters if we get around to that.
Of course, Marshall's game plan is to mow him down 1, 2, 3 and not worry about it. Take over for Latos and do what Latos did pretty much the entire game. What, 1, 2, 3, 4 of his 7 innings, retired the side in order. Soft liner down at third, and there are 2 outs in the inning.
The season's attendance is all 2,347,251.
Fouled away by Aoki. Did he go around? They appeal a no. And this time they finish him off. So very impressive work by Marshall. Reds will have Stubbs, a pinch hitter, and then Phillips down a run. Cincinnati Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio has been brought to you in part by Cincinnati Children's, ranking 3rd in the nation again in the U.S. News and World Report's 2012 Best Children's Hospitals. And by the dependable, long-lasting Chevy Silverado and your tri-state Chevy dealers. Bottom of the 8th inning. And a 1-0 Milwaukee Brewers lead. That looks good right about now. Nice. And now Jim Henderson, who's been a big part of the Brewers bullpen turnaround, takes over on the mound. He'll pitch the 8th inning.
Now, he was a closer, Dan, in their AAA franchise all season long. It seemed like Henderson, 15 for 16 in save opportunities down there. PCL All-Star. Made his Major League debut this year back in July against the Nationals.
Wilson Valdez has moved into the on-deck circle. He'll bat for the pitcher Marshall. The inning begins with Stubbs, who takes a strike. Drew is singled up the right field line, at the ball very hard in the right center field gap. A ball caught in front of the wall by Carlos Gomez. It turned into an inning-ending double play at first base. Stubbs try to get something going here in the Reds' 8th inning. Just a 1-0 ball game. Two and one.
They've got some young hard throwers in this Brewer organization. We saw Peralta start the ball game working today at 94 to 96. Henderson comes in here throwing 95. Talked about Rogers already. Mark Rogers, who's been shut down routinely, hits 97 and 98, they tell me.
Two on Stubbs, and he fouls it out of play. Well, nothing but fastball after the count gets at 3-2 on Stubbs. The last two he's fouled away. Trying to get aboard and utilize that great speed of his to try and put the Reds in a position at the minimum of the tie, if not take the lead. And naturally, with that potential there of taking the lead or tying the game, there's double barrel action out in the Reds bullpen. 3-2 on Stubbs, and he's gone swinging to begin the inning. Well, coming up today and the last 6 of the year, and every day all year long, it's Reds Live, brought to you by King's Honda, the King's Automobile Reds Live. Visit King's Honda USA.com.
Practice that at home.
I love it. Hitting live. That's why I still love watching Brent Musburger on college football. I love when the game starts. You know, it's a great atmosphere. You're looking live. way to roll. Right?
You're on top of your game.
There's no doubt.
Here on the home finale. You will be around back again with us in St. Louis, right?
St. Louis, looking forward to seeing you there.
Good deal.
Chris Heisey, the batter. And first pitch hack, and there's Heisey, a little dribbler down to second. They're 2 away in the inning. Brandon Phillips, he's one big crack of the bat away from tying this game up. Reds only have 3 hits. Brewers only have 3 hits, but they had one big crack of the bat from Gomez. Leading off the 3rd inning with a right-handed batting Gomez homered to right center field off Matt Latos. Brandon 0 for 3 today. A fly ball to center, a ground out to second, a pop fly to right. And he's behind 0-2. And that's the way things will end in the 8th inning. 10 strikeouts by Brewer pitching today. We go to the 9th in a 1-0 game. For the game, I mean, there's only been one of them. The home run by Gomez for the game's only run. Back in the 3rd inning, Latos couldn't believe it. Well, what a game Matt pitched here today. It was the only run, obviously, he gave up in his 1-0 game, allowed 3 hits. And now we go to the 9th inning. Marshall a perfect inning behind Latos, and now it's big Jonathan Broxton.
Well, Big John, in fact, that was the walk-up song they used to play for John when he first broke in out of the minor leagues in with the Dodgers. They eventually changed that.
Did he change it or did they change it?
I think they changed it. He told me, I asked him about Iron Man by Black Sabbath, thinking, hey, man, you're a throwback, right? He says, well, that's not exactly my song, but it has been my song since they started playing that after Big John. in Los Angeles. He said, thank goodness they changed it from that.
Really? He didn't like that song?
I don't think he did. Well, a little something a little bit more uplifting.
All right. Well, just coming down the pike here a moment ago, the Cleveland Indians have fired Manny Acta as their manager. Boy, I'm sorry to see that. That's a good man. He's really been given a couple of chances to manage in the major leagues and their franchises. They just don't have the wherewithal to go out there and spend a pile of money, or at least the ones he was with while he was with them. And fired today, Sandy Alomar Jr., former Indians great catcher, has taken over as the interim manager, and they said he is a candidate to become the full-time manager. It will not take Manny Acta long to find another job, coaching job for sure. Weeks off the end of the bat. That'll fall in front of Jay Bruce to begin the Milwaukee night.
Tom, I'm always curious. Maybe you got the answer to this. What's the thought process behind firing a manager with 1 week left in the season? I mean, and then naming an interim guy, knowing that you're going to have a full-scale managerial search in the offseason anyway.
You know, it's a good question. I mean, I'm sitting here trying to think. I mean, does it gain you any advantage in terms of the potential pool of candidates that would be out there that you might want to interview? I don't know the answer to that question. Is it saying to your fan base, you know, hey, look, we understand that we feel like changes need to be made to get whatever program it is going in the right direction? I mean, you know, what's the difference between doing it now, a week from now?
Right.
I don't know. Maybe in Sandy Alomar Jr.'s case, you know, you get a look-see, if you will. Maybe only 6 games. And how maybe he goes about his daily business for at least 1 week as a manager. Trouble here. I mean, that had trouble written all over it. They throw to second, and the runner is safe. That ball's in here a long time. You're playing deep with Ryan Braun up there at the plate, but look where Phillips is. He's over halfway out into right center field.
Well, Brandon covers more ground out there than any second baseman maybe ever. And he goes way out there thinking he's got a good shot at that, and he does, and just can't come up with it. Meanwhile, Jay Bruce is kind of standing right there.
So bad luck for Jonathan Broxton here. He comes in here and Weeks hits one off the end of the bat that just dies in short right. Braun pops one up that nobody can get to. It scored a hit. And now 2 on for Aramis Ramirez. Well, obviously, you never want this to happen where you have 2 on and nobody out, but having secured the Central Division title, you know, for a guy like Broxton, maybe he's saying to himself, okay, let's pretend as though I'm coming into a game with 2 on and nobody out. And I've got to keep that other team from scoring and approach it that way, starting right here and right now with Aramis Ramirez. 1 ball and 1 strike. You hope Broxton doesn't face this kind of situation coming into a game in the playoffs, but he's been down that road before.
Certainly has, and I really love his attitude when it comes to coming over here, not being the closer, although he did fill in while Chapman was unavailable. And he said, he made a great point, and I know I've heard it many times, is that, you know, 7th, 8th, or 9th inning, they're all important outs.
Tapper down to Frazier. He waits. They get one, and that's all they're going to get. So advancing on the third is Weeks. Runners on the corners. One out for Corey Hart.
No, they haven't not hit the ball hard off of Jonathan Broxton yet. That ball hit so softly, even with Ramirez running, they've got no chance of two. Looking for one more ground ball right here, maybe get him out of the inning.
Reds in the bottom of the ninth have Cozart, Votto, and Frazier due up. First pitch, breaking ball, and a beauty, strike one. For a quick and delicious meal the whole family will enjoy. By JTM's beef or chicken Philly steak kits. JTM. One ball, one strike. Corey Hart waiting, and Broxton, a big deep breath, delivers. Threw it right by him. Although that was not vintage Broxton gas.
I think that was more of a cutter. I mean, Broxton's not throwing the ball 97 and 98 like he used to when he first came up with the Dodgers, but that was a cutter that looked like it backed up on him a little bit. His fastball's still 94, right in that range. Plenty hard enough. He's really developed his breaking ball. That's probably the pitch he's going to go to right here.
1-2 on Hart. He does go to the breaking ball and misses. Runners on the corners, one away. 2-2 on Corey Hart. Broxton the pause, and now to the plate. Blew him away. 95 gas, up and in, 2 out.
Oh, you're right. He just reaches back with that four-seamer and says, here it is. But with a big guy like Corey Hart up there, he's 6'6", and he's got long arms, and you can sometimes tie him up with that high hard one, and that's what Broxton did. Boy, first and second, nobody out. Brewers just looking for one insurance run. Now Broxton a good chance of getting out of this inning.
Well, one more out to go. And that batter is Martin Maldonado. He's clearly had a nice year offensively and behind the plate since they brought him up from the minor leagues. Ball one. Pulled foul. It's 1-1. 1-1 on Maldonado. That's at 95 gas up and in again. 1-2.
Same pitch he struck Corey Hart on.
One ball, 2-strike pitch. Now time is called by Maldonado. The inning began with 2 bleeders. Off the end of the bat, a single by Weeks. It fell into short right. A pop-up by Braun that fell in amongst a trio of Phillips, Bruce, and Stubbs. And now Broxton trying to pitch out of 2-1, nobody out. It remains a ball and 2 strikes. Fastball off the inside corner. That went at 96 miles per hour from Broxton.
Got a little run on that fastball, too. It looks like it's starting center of the plate. Look where Yonder Navarro sets up, and that ball just runs right in under Maldonado's hands.
Well, Chris Beyer looking for that final out. And get his team at the plate for the bottom of the ninth, trailing 1-0. Broxton trying to make that happen right now. Slider away, missed. Well, the crowd that is here certainly enthusiastic, standing unprompted. No scoreboard, no make noise sign, no nothing.
Yeah, they're making a lot of noise for 23,000 plus.
Three-two pitch. Fly ball hit hard in the left, but right there is Paul, and what a job by Broxton. All right, here we go. Down 1-0, bottom of the ninth in the home finale.
games, it may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
All right, bottom half of the ninth inning. Reds down 1-0, and Milwaukee going to bring on their closers. Certainly had his ups and a lot of downs this year. That's John Axford.
Well, overall, he's pitched pretty well in the second half of the year, and he's been part of their run. Rubber arm, 72 games now for Axford. You may not remember this, but he was actually drafted by the Reds back in 2005 in the 42nd round. That was the same year that the Reds drafted Jay Bruce and then Travis Wood 1 and 2. Then later on got Sam LeCure, Adam Rosales, Logan Ondrusek. But Axford was the one that got away that Reds decided not to even offer a contract to after they saw him pitch in junior college.
1-1 to count on Kozar. $2,347,251 come to Great American Ballpark this summer. Reds drawing the second most fans in the history of Great American Ballpark. Well, really, since the Castellini and Williams crew took over this franchise, they made improvements in the ballpark, made improvements on the team.
It's a little bit of a bump over last year, an average of about 1,600 more per game more than in 2011.
Yeah, and only 300,000 more than when they won the division in 2010. As far as average per game, the Reds are, what, 10th or 11th out of the 16 teams in the National League. But with that in mind, for all of you who came down here and spent your hard-earned money to buy a ticket, anywhere, any game, we cannot thank you enough. And we know there's some out there that would love to be able to do it. Maybe right now you just can't. But believe me, the door is always open for you to come on down here. We'd love to have you. You're more than welcome. This economy, certainly the country is in right now, news just doesn't seem to get much better. 2-2 the count on Kozar. Now to pitch. And that's strike 3, and he knew it. Boy, strikeouts piling up today. That's 11 of them for Brewers pitching. Now Joey Votto. He has struck out, walked twice. Big Hardy cut, and Votto came up empty, tried to tie it with one crack of the bat. That went all the way to the backstop at 97 miles per hour by Axford. Only been 7 1-0 games in the history of Great American Ballpark coming into today. The last was July the 18th of 2010 when the Rockies shut out the Reds 1-0. Reds down to their final out.
Yeah, the subplot right there was two Toronto area boys going after each other. Votto from the outskirts, so is Axford from Simcoe, Ontario, and trying to chase the high hard one right there. Votto comes up empty.
Deep straightaway center field. We are tied on the home run by Frazier.
Series on our Tech Talk about Todd Frazier and his philosophy at the plate, and it is being aggressive. He knew he was getting the first pitch fastball, and he dropped the head and lines it right on out of here.
And now Bruce rolls one into short left field for a hit. Frazier, his first home run in well over a month. That's nice to see. That ball was killed. We'll see now if Deoner Navarro can end it. .422 feet, that home run by Todd Frazier. Breaking ball misses. 1 ball and 1 strike on Navarro. Good eye again on that Axford breaking ball, taking in the dirt. Ball 3. And we've seen this from Axford in the past. Even years when he was great last year. For whatever reason, when the Reds would see this guy, they'd really make him earn anything good that came his way, and oftentimes it didn't go his way.
Well, especially in this ballpark. Who can forget that opening day blow-up where he gave an opposite field 3-run home run up to Ramon Hernandez for a walk-off Reds victory.
3-1, 1 pitch, 1 zone here for Navarro. And apparently that's the one he liked.
And the first error of the year by Larry Herms. He's a little more of an offensive player, I think. He's in the PR department for offense.
Three and 2 now to count on Navarro. Do you start Bruce? Of course you do, with 2 outs in the inning. So he is running, and here comes a pitch. And hammered but fouled. Goodness gracious. Boy, he jumped all over that one.
Just a hair out in front.
We have Hart standing over there like a step or two behind Bruce. So he's got to be aware of that. But also trying to get as much start as he can. Not out of play again. Game-tying home run with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th inning by Todd Frazier. And after a base hit by Jay Bruce, Navarro with thoughts of winning it here in the bottom of the 9th. Is this one fair? Bending foul again. Wow. Holy Moses, were those 2 balls kissed, but long, loud, foul balls. If he throws him a changeup, he might be waist deep into the ground. But if he keeps running that fastball up there, Navarro might finally get it in fair territory. In the air, right center field. Did he get this one? It is up against the wall. Reds win. Reds win. Reds win in the bottom of the 9th. Wow. And that's the way the home slate comes to an end. Their 50th home victory of this 2012 championship season. And boy, you about a crushing defeat for the Milwaukee Brewers. They will limp back to Milwaukee, wondering what could have been.
Well, first the home run by Frazier to tie it up after a long battle. Deanna Navarro gets one, and instead of hitting it down the line like he did 2 foul home runs, he hits it in the right center field gap. Norichika Aoki can't get to it, and by the time they bring it back in, Jay Bruce running on the 3-2 count is all the way to third base by the time that ball is touched by the outfielder, and that's the winning run. It ends his home schedule for a very happy Reds ball club.
3 straight hits after the first 2 batters struck out here in the bottom of the 9th inning.
Man,
and really, Chris, exciting. I guess the way it's been that way for the Reds, a lot of games all year long.
Well, you know, Tom, there are only 23,000 plus here today, but it seemed like each and every one of them came and stayed right to the very end, thinking that this ball club had some magic in them.
Let's go downstairs. Jeff Vaccaro standing by with 2 of the heroes in the 9th.
Well, thank you very much, Tom. Yeah, 2 of the heroes tonight. Let's start with Frazier because he got it started. And I'll tell you what, guys, Dottie, it was a tough game. Pitching-wise for both teams. I mean, both starting pitchers pitched great, but with Axford, I think you knew going up there he was going to throw a fastball in the first pitch.
You know, I've been frustrated the whole last 4 or 5 games, and finally squared the ball up. It felt pretty good. You know, I didn't know whether it was going or not, but you knew you were going to get the heat, like you said, and that's the bottom line. You get it, you got to do something with it.
How exciting is that to do it in the final home game here in the regular season, too?
It's great. It's good for the fans. It's good for the city, and U-City's still here. It's unbelievable, like we just clinched again. You
know, me and you make jokes about this all the time. You get that monkey off your back a little bit. It's been a while since you hit a home run.
Yeah, it's been a real long time. And, you know, I'd be lying to you if I didn't think about it. I want to hit a home run every pitch I get. So I just swing as hard as I can no matter what, whether it's a strikeout or a home run.
Well, congratulations on a big one tonight. All right. Now let's turn our attention to Deoner Navarro. And, you know, we talked the other day, and you talked about just getting the opportunity and getting comfortable now with the pitching staff, but also getting comfortable at the plate. You hit 2 foul balls out of the ballpark here, and I was worried, and Tom Brenneman even said it, if he throws a changeup here, it might screw you into the ground. But he came with an off-speed pitch, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I just was out there battling, you know, I just wanted to put the ball.
Well, it's apropos that the starting pitcher, Matt Latos, who pitched such a great game, is the one that comes out here. But, again, you had some very nice swings against Axford in that at-bat.
Well, like I say, I was just trying to put the ball in play, you know, and try to make something happen. You know, once I was 3-2, I knew Jace was running it. I just didn't want to stroke out. I just wanted to put the ball in play, and fortunately enough, you know, he found the gap.
Wipe your face. I want to ask you one more question. Boy, Matt Latos tonight, you talked about Johnny Cueto being a horse the other day when you got to catch him, but Matt Latos tonight was spectacular, wasn't he?
He's been great the whole year, man, you know, and I'm just glad, you know, I think I'm fortunate just to catch a guy like that, like Latos and Cueto, you know, and every single guy here, you know. We got a great team. We got a great, outstanding starting rotation. Our bullpen is sick, and we're just enjoying ourselves, man, going out there playing hard every day.
And getting ready for the playoffs, right?
Yeah, that's the most important thing. You know, we got to turn a notch a little bit.
All right, well, congratulations on a big game.
Appreciate it.
Thanks. Navi, nice going right there, man. Boy, I'll tell you what, he hit 2 balls that he absolutely squared. Then he comes right back and gets a big base hit. Stay with us. Still plenty more to come, including Reds Live with Jim Day right after this. Reds winners. They take 2 out of 3 from the Milwaukee Brewers.